Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, chat. We got Gracie in here now. Let me work on getting that set up. Okay, I can see you, I can hear you. Can you see and hear me?
Yes. How's the lighting?
Oh, I know. Thank you for asking. You seem to like actually care about that. No one cares about the lighting. But yeah, lighting is good. There we go. All
Good.
right. Welcome in, Gracie. Gracie Torres is running for Riverside City Council Ward 2. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the stream here and chat with me. And we have a couple people in the audience watching. You seem like a great person. I tried to reach out to some of your opponents to also get them on for an interview, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. But yeah, so thank you for being here. Let's
Of course.
start out with tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you are from Riverside.
My name is Gracie Torres, as you mentioned. I currently serve on the board of directors for Western Municipal Water District. Have been there for the last 8 years. I am from Riverside. My family moved here in 1990. I was 3 years old from Durango, Mexico, and we've been here ever since. Most of actually all my siblings have left Riverside except me.
Oh,
And
wow.
quite frankly, when you're young and you're like, oh, I want to explore the world, and I didn't get a chance to do that. I had my daughter very, very young, my oldest. She's
Hmm.
18. You'll see her zombie out at some point. But so I stayed in Riverside. I went to school at RCC, got my associates in math and science. Then I transferred to Cal State San Bernardino, and my grants and scholarships went further. I was able to pay tuition. I was able to pay for a roof for my over my kids' heads, and take care of them without having to work full time.
Yeah.
So I became a water chemist. I fell in love with water chemistry. Originally, I was in pre-med at Cal State San Bernardino and got hired at a little water lab. One thing that I knew as a Latina, if I got a job off campus, my likelihood of graduating was going to diminish with all the
Really?
everything. Yeah, with everything going on in my life, I had two kids. I was already a single mom, and if I got a job off campus, the likelihood would be I really like this job. I'll wait another semester, and I wouldn't graduate. And so I didn't want that to happen. So I got a job on campus at a little water lab. We sampled in Lake Elsinore and Canyon Lake
No
the
way.
water.
Wow.
And let me tell you something about perspective. We'd go at 5 in the morning. We'd get to the lake at 5 in the morning. So the sun was rising over these beautiful homes, beautiful lake. So part of me is like, I must have been bamboozled or something because I fell in love
Mm.
and literally went straight to my advisor, switched to environmental chemistry, focused on water. And so I've been doing that ever since. Got an internship at Riverside County Flood Control. I do stormwater management and compliance. Started off literally sampling water out throughout Riverside County, and now I do like compliance work. And well, I mean, we could probably talk about that forever. But
Yeah.
anyway, so come 2018, I was volunteering for all kinds of stuff. I was, translating at ICE hearings. I was just trying to get more involved politically.
Damn,
Before that, I
back
was
in
just,
2018, back before
yeah.
everyone, I mean, no, not before everyone knew about ICE, but yeah, it's crazy. You were doing translating for those meetings.
I was
Wow.
translating. I was just trying to do whatever I could. I wasn't really politically involved or inclined at all. I was just a huge nerd. And I met a friend of mine. I'm gonna have to, if this gets cut, but yeah, her name's Maha, and one of my best friends now. She was currently working, she is still working for Assemblymember Luis Gomez Reyes.
Ah,
And she's like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I'm a water chemist. And she's like, there's a water board seat open. You should run for office. This was on a Sunday. By Friday, which was the deadline to file, I had filed all my paperwork and started this race. And between my husband and my kids, we ran kind of by ourselves. We didn't really know anything at all about campaigns, about, again, politics, nothing. And we were successful. We won that race by about a 25% margin. And so I've been there ever since. Very, very, very fortunate. And I've learned a lot. I was uniquely qualified for that role. I'm not some, while I'm on the dais there, I don't have to be explained a lot of water quality issues or water conservation or even in infrastructure issues because I deal with infrastructure on the day-to-day basis in my daytime job. And so the governance part is what was an uphill battle,
Mm.
understanding that I can't do anything by myself
Yep.
as much as I want to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As much as, and there were a few things that I promised and delivered, right? One of the things that we hear often when people are running for office are, we want more transparency. And if they're not telling me what they're doing, they've got to be lying to me.
Yeah.
And came to find out that that wasn't really the case. No one was lying. They just didn't understand how to communicate to the public. So we created a very comprehensive communications plan, one that now is award-winning at Western Municipal. And one of the things I'm proud about, oh my God, if you don't stop me, I
No,
will
go
just
for it.
keep talking. So one of the things I'm most proud about is live streaming.
Mm.
We wanted to live stream it. The meetings are at 9:30 a.m. I work full time. I have 3 kids. If I had an issue with my water bill, I will never ever show up to complain about it. Not because I don't care, but because I can't.
Yeah.
And so the best, I tried to move the meetings to the evening, didn't have the support there. So I said, okay, let's live stream. We're the first water district in Southern California to live stream their
That's
board meetings,
crazy.
and we
That's
still do.
crazy.
So the cool part about that is that when COVID happened, we were also the only water district in Southern California ready to go. We didn't have to, there was so many meetings that were delayed. The Brown Act had to be suspended. There was all these things happening.
Mm.
And Western was functioning as usual because we had already had these transparent policies in place
Yeah.
when it happened.
That's awesome.
So, anyways, back to Riverside. So I've been there for 8 years,
Yeah.
and there's an open seat in Ward 2. The current council person is running for assembly now. And so the mayor reached out to me and she said, hey, I really like what you've done. The mayor and a few council members have reached out and said, hey, we really like what you've done. You're good at keeping partisan politics off of the dais, which I am. And most of the reason is that when it comes to water, at least at the water board, what I learned is everyone wants the same thing. They want their water bills to not go over. It did not matter who I was talking to.
Yeah.
If it didn't matter your race, gender, orientation, party, they all want the same things, right?
Yeah.
And so I had learned that, but again, it took 8 years. It took 2 terms for me to realize, like, if I talk to one group of people, I'm ignoring another group of people. And so she reached out and I said, you know what? I'm currently in the process of buying a home in that district. I actually ended up being affordable housing, even though I had
Nice.
done everything right. I was told was right, right? Went to school, got a master's degree, had, a good career all in all. I work in government.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to buy in the city that I love, that I didn't want to leave. And so I live now in affordable housing, but I'm proud because it is the first home I've ever owned. And
Yeah.
so I said, you know what, that it was just, at least in my eyes, just very good timing. I had had 8 years of experience. I was already moving into that district. And when I say move, I literally lived a block away. I've lived in Riverside my whole life in Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3,
Yeah.
where, young people are nomads. So wherever there was housing, I lived there. And so my kids could have, grass to play on and things like that. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we moved. I started this race about a year and a half ago. And quite frankly, I think what I love the most about this city is it is a big city,
Yeah.
a big metropolitan city, but it has a small town feel, right?
Yeah.
Anything that happens, we all feel it. We're all impacted. And just like I learned on the water board, we all want the same things,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
don't want to pay taxes so that when there's a pothole in the road, I hit it, my tire goes flat, and now not only did I pay the taxes for it to get fixed, I'm paying for this tire to get fixed,
Yeah.
right? We all want the same things, right? We want to see the homeless being taken care of and off the streets, right?
Yeah.
We all want to see our infrastructure be taken care of. We want good jobs here so that whatever it is, 60% of the residents aren't going to Orange County and LA to work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
all want those things. And so those are the things that I'm focused on. They were the things that I was focused on as a water board member. And it's funny because people were like, "Why don't you just stick to water?" And what's really funny is that at the water, well, one, Riverside has its own water utility, so I will be sticking to water in that sense. But one of the things that being on the water board, they don't have a lot of authority that city councils
Mm.
have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would be frustrated. Could be like, we should be in these communications, or we should be in these decisions, and we weren't. We just didn't have the jurisdiction. And so a lot of it was like, well, hopefully the city takes care of this.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really expanding on my experience as a water expert, and now experienced governance person. But I'm really excited. The conversations that we've had at the doors have been really eye-opening, mostly because the city feels that we're losing this Riverside, like, small town
Small town.
feel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where if I have an issue, or there's an issue in my neighborhood, everyone seems to know about it. But
Mm.
we're tending to lose that. And so I'm happy to bring at least a voice that is going to work for everyone, and really, in the sense that I've learned we all do want the same things. We might have different approaches to it, and
Yeah.
that's where these conversations come in. But we do want the same things. So
Yeah.
sorry, long answer to who I am.
No, that's perfect. I appreciate it. So many things that I could have asked you there, but I was like, let me just let her talk. She's amazing. So yeah, thank you. But let's. I've been super confused about Measure Z, right? I mean, I'm not a resident of Riverside. I live in Rancho Cucamonga, which is a little bit north of Riverside, but still, I love the Mission Inn. I grew up going to the Festival of the Lights there. I have a lot of friends that live in Riverside, and I mean, it's just a fun place to hang out. Like instead of me going to hang out in LA, I now have found out like Riverside, Redlands area. Those are really fun places to hang out. So, but yeah, about this Measure Z, like it confuses me because picturing it like as imagine if we had a Measure Z like across the board for entire nation, right? Like the federal government. I feel like people would be so mad that we just have this random tax that just increases randomly whenever, and I can't understand why the city doesn't like make like clearly there's a need for funding in fire and police safety, whatever. Why not just make a tax specific to that as opposed to this like catch-all tax that ends up going into the general fund anyways, and then I mean, I'm not saying there's no transparency, but it just kind of feels like it's money to do with whatever we want. So, what are your thoughts on Measure Z?
That's actually very valid, right?
Yeah.
Like I said before, that this is something that I dealt with at the water district, and to be very like transparent, while I was on the water board, I voted against rate increases
Yeah.
twice. And not because I don't understand. I like, as a government employee, when property taxes go up, I know that there's potential for me to get a raise, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
property taxes don't go up, then there is no potential for me to get a raise. So not only that, obviously infrastructure and all the things that the county has to pay for. I work for the county, to be clear, but
Yeah.
with the city, this is with Measure Z specifically. The reason well, I can't tell you the reason why it's not a special tax. I'm not
Yeah.
on the dais,
Yeah.
and I didn't vote to put it on the ballot. But in my opinion, that's exactly where it belongs. It
Hmm.
belongs on the ballot for us
Mm-hmm.
to choose. People are hearing that it's not a special tax. People are hearing that it goes into the general fund. But in Ward 2, the reason why it's so tough for me to reject a tax like this is that in Ward 2, I'm not sure if you knew, in the state of California, it was
Mm-hmm.
a mandate to create fire maps,
Oh, I
right?
see. Okay.
So
Interesting.
every city had to sit there and draw maps and say, this area is a high fire zone, right?
Mm.
And before that, if you had heard the news, insurance companies were flying drones over your house and seeing like, hey, if your house is about to catch on fire, we want nothing to do with you,
Wow.
right?
Huh.
So
Yeah.
to kind of fix that, the state said, let's just create fire maps. What
Yeah.
they really did was created a target on residents' backs.
Mm.
And so I'm knocking on doors, and residents are saying, my insurance went up 4 times. I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's like, you can't see, but I get chills thinking about how these state mandates are never thought through at the local level. We lose
Yeah.
so much local control because if I'm sitting on the council and they say, hey, we're going to draw fire maps, my thought is like, we live by a huge hill that looks dry. You are going to put targets on my neighbors' backs.
Yeah.
But no one talked to us. No one talks to, they go to Sacramento, make this legislation, don't talk to the cities that are having to implement these things,
Yeah.
right? So then that happens, our fire department and our police department do an assessment of like if right now that we just had actually a big wildfire in the river,
Yeah.
if right now there were two big fires,
The
what
Bane fire and
the
Verona
Bane
fire?
fire.
Yeah.
Well, if we had the Bane fire and the Canyon Crest fire, God
Okay.
willing, doesn't ever happen. But if we had those two fires, what is the possibility that we'd be able to take care of it? And this assessment said straight out, we just to meet that need, not for future needs, not anything. We need 84 firefighters and 4 new fire stations to meet
Mm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been fortunate not to have two major fires in the city of Riverside,
Yeah.
but we all see the trends, right? We all see that you have Palisades and at the same time Altadena. I mean, we could talk about that as like a water agency, how we all watched like the water having to be turned off and people being blamed for something that really wasn't their fault. You know,
Yeah. It was a big
it was
debacle.
exactly. But really, so in Ward 2, this is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance are going up. We have a huge target on our back because Ward 2 is the highest risk of fire.
Of
And
course.
our firefighters are literally saying, if there's a fire there, we don't have the resources to combat it. And, to be fair, there's a lot of mutual aid, a lot of fire departments, right, will step in and help. The county will step in and help. But these are just issues that our residents are really focused on.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like, hey, it's a general fund, that doesn't seem transparent. That's a very valid concern.
Yeah.
Coming from a water district where I was like scrutinizing every line, but that's where leadership and experience comes,
Yep.
right? I trust me, and I say this, me and Measure Z are going to be or not be elected at the same time. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't know how it's going to go in the next 4 days, but if it passes, right? It is upon my leadership and experience to ensure the money goes where it's supposed to go.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't, I can't be like, oh my God, this is so untransparent because if like nobody knows, that's my job.
To tell
And that
people.
is what
Yeah.
I'm going to commit to, that I make sure the money goes where my firefighters are telling me where that money goes. My residents are getting charged crazy numbers for their fire insurance. I'm
Yeah.
going to be like, hey, wait a minute. No, it can't go to this thing because this is one, this is what we told residents. And two, my firefighters and my residents are telling me this,
Yeah.
right? That's exactly why leadership or actually experience matters in these races,
Yeah.
because we can promise all these things, like the high school, ASB president race, right? Like we're all gonna get pizza on Thursdays, and the promise is like, hey, I'm gonna make sure everybody knows where your budget going. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if it passes, that's my job. My job is to make sure that that money goes where where we have been told that it's gonna go.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pass, it is my job to make sure that we find the money to because where our firefighters are telling us and where our
Mm-hmm.
residents are telling us, right? So I can't, again, I don't know, I don't know necessarily why it was chosen to be a special tax versus
Yeah.
a general tax.
Yeah.
What I do know is that I trust in my commitment to, and I have done it for the last 8 years, to stand with residents to make sure that the money that they're giving every single day is being used in the right way.
Yeah. That's good. I could get behind that. Especially like, yeah, it's not necessarily, I know it may seem like, oh, the government's not telling us how they're spending our money, right? But like it is kind of on us to ask those questions,
Yeah.
like and we live in a community, we live in a world where I think we're like all of a sudden, oh my God, politics are really important. And it's
Yes.
like they've been important, They were
Yeah.
important in 2018, they were important in 2008, and now they're going to be important in 2028 too. So let's talk a little bit about affordability. That seems like something you're big on, and personally, that's something that's important to me. I know it's important to a lot of people throughout the country, but to the people of Ward 2 and Riverside in general, what can you do? What do you hope to do to make housing more affordable? I mean, I really appreciate you sharing that story of yourself buying a home. I mean, I currently live with my parents. I don't know if I'll ever be able to buy a home, but I at least shooting for getting my own apartment, right?
And Rancho, girl.
In Rancho, I know I'm gonna have to move to
I would
Hesperia.
say come out to Riverside, but we're facing
I
the same
know.
difficulty. So affordability is yeah, top of mind for everyone. For
Yeah.
me, I one of the reasons I jumped in so early into this race is every penny that I have goes to three babies. I understand affordability like intimately, and
Mm-hmm.
we used to talk about representation mattering,
Yeah.
right? I don't have 29, $30,000 to throw into my campaign.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not Tom Steyer.
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly.
Right, I don't have all this money to throw in a campaign. I had to raise money. I was really lucky that people are trusted in my leadership from Western that saw my vision as a council member that said, hey, this girl might win. Maybe we should invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky that I've been able to raise that money. Right. But one of the reasons is because I'm living this affordability crisis alongside a lot of Ward 2 residents, right?
Yeah.
My fire insurance has gone up. There's a going to be at least it's on legislature where homes people, or I think it passed, people are going to have to create buffer zones around their homes.
Oh my gosh.
Do you
Wow.
know how much that's going to cost someone? Like
Like individuals, like
it gives
elderly
it
people are not gonna, yeah. Yeah,
And never
that's
mind, like in Riverside, we got some beautiful lawns. Like some people are like, hey, we've invested so much of our lives. These older folks are going to be like, we invested so much to make this yard look beautiful.
yeah.
And now you're telling me I'm going to have to cut it out and it's not going to be cheap. So there's
No.
all these things coming down the pipe, right?
Yeah.
HR1 is going to create all these cuts. I'm a SEIU 721 member. What we're seeing every day is like, hey, those COLAs you fought for 8 years to get, they
Mm-hmm.
might not come back.
Mm.
And that like I have again, I have three kids that I am very responsible for, and one of them in college. My son is, about to graduate high school. Well, he's got 2 years, but it
Yeah.
feels like tomorrow. I mean, it feels like it's going to be tomorrow. So I'm living this alongside. So when I talk about number one is jobs.
Yeah.
One of the things that actually I'm most proud of at Western is we created a consortium of water districts that were recruiting, training, and recruiting, training, and certifying people from our communities from the Inland Empire that have never historically heard of a water job.
Yeah.
Actually, water career. People stay in water more than any other sector. But
Interesting.
no one heard that. Like from everything from being a secretary to an operator to an engineer, there is so many opportunities. And what we found was that about 52 or 53% of the people employed at local water districts are coming from outside of the Inland Empire.
Mm.
Not because we don't like people from the Inland
Yeah.
Empire, but because we didn't have the opportunities to recruit from them. We helped create the bachelor's degree at San Bruno Valley College so that people could get a water resource bachelor's degree for free,
At a
right?
junior college, which is
At a
awesome.
junior
Yeah.
college. And so we're recruiting, we're training them, and we're placing them here so that we're creating these jobs here. And we've been able to place over 100, I think 120 now, people at a water district locally.
Wow, that's
That's
great.
small scale. So,
But that's
like I
a
said
hundred
before,
jobs, you know?
that's 100 jobs
Yeah.
locally. You're not from LA, not someone from LA who's jumped from water sector job or public sector job to public sector job
Mm-hmm.
from our communities. And they're good paying job, great paying jobs. So again, like I said before, I just want to expand on those types of things. At the city, at the county, if you want an entry level job, you need a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
That's crazy
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You just said you just
I
graduated,
just
right?
graduated from Cal State San Bernardino. I
With a
did use
master's?
with a bachelor's, yeah.
Oh,
I
with a
did
bachelor.
used to work for the county of San Bernardino, and it was, yeah, entry level jobs, but they were like minimum wage, and I'm like, okay, at least I have benefits, I guess. But it's like Man, I'm seeing, I'm going to McDonald's and I'm seeing that they're hiring, managers for $20 an hour and I'm here working for the county making 17, $18 an hour. I'm like, oof. But
And then,
again,
and at the same time, racking up the debt to get that degree in order to get
exactly.
that
I don't even
job,
want to
right?
think about my financial aid loans that I have to start paying back.
Same. I'm exact. Well, imagine I have all this student loan debt. I'm finishing my doctorate degree.
That's
And
crazy.
so I
That's
have all this
awesome.
student loan debt, and then I have a kid about to start college. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. When I'm living it with people. So, so one, create more jobs in the
Yeah.
Inland Empire. Lower the experience or requirements in order to
Mm-hmm.
get an entry-level job in government. We all know those are good careers. They come with benefits, they come with union representation. Let's If you want an entry-level job, you don't need a bachelor's degree. You don't need 6 years
No,
of experience.
no.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So right then and there, you are opening tons of opportunities here locally. I want to create the same type of workforce development pipeline where, again, we recruit, train, certify wherever we need. Here in the city of Riverside, one of the big needs is in electrification, right? The
Mm-hmm.
city is moving very quickly towards electrification, and the Inland Empire is a kind of experienced desert. We don't
Yeah.
have people who are trained in those jobs, and so let's train them. Let's find them. Let's go into our neighborhoods, into Casablanca, East Side, and say, hey, who wants a job in electrification? We're going to train you. And not only that, we're going to pay to train you
That's
so that
awesome.
you can get a job here at the city and hopefully grow at the city level. Create more cross-training jobs, and that's just at the city. I
Yeah.
want to partner with small businesses. If you're a small business here in the city of Riverside, which is one of the critiques we get, they feel like this is not a small business friendly city anymore,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
And so they have like permitting requirements, and
Mm,
like code enforcement is like finding them, and they're really feeling a lot of pressures. So I want to incentivize more small businesses to come here. But if you're a small business that's hiring locally, let's reward you for that. You have some longevity here. You're not hiring from LA, you're not hiring from different. Let's reward you for hiring locally, whatever that needs to be, right? And so creating more jobs, I think, is going to help with not just getting to a place of affordability, but
yeah.
also getting you off of this traffic, right? We're a
Yeah.
commuter city. We're a commuter city. So the 91, you know this, right? You're
I
by the
know, I
15.
know that I hate driving. I mean, I
You're
love I love
you're
cars.
by
I
the
hate driving. I
15.
hate commuting, but
Yeah,
it's just the state of
so
life here.
and so that's the second part of it, right? If I'm driving to LA every single day, Orange County every single day to work, I don't want to think of what I'm paying for gas. I joke all the time. The county has me by like they're gonna keep me forever because I drive 7 minutes.
Oh,
Like
yeah, you got the best commute.
exactly. You'll never find me applying for a job outside of the city because I'm like, I can't, like, I couldn't afford to drive that far, never mind the time.
Yeah.
So let's get you off of these roads paying these crazy gas prices. I can't do anything about gas prices, but I can at least get you off the roads,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, basic city services, right? We talked about, I mentioned if I'm fixing my tire because that pothole wasn't fixed,
Mm-hmm.
you just made me pay twice, right?
Yeah.
If I'm fixing my window because this tree fell over it, you just made me pay twice. And so going back to the basics, getting basic city service, getting the city back to basics, right? Have you paved every road? No, then I don't want to hear you talk about any other crazy program that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is every tree trimmed? Is street sweeping on schedule? Which, fun fact, street sweeping is actually a water quality measure. So
Oh, wow.
again,
I mean, I guess it
it is
makes sense. Yeah.
nobody sat and thought like, hey, we really want these streets to be pretty. No, what happened is they said that the state mandated said, hey, there shouldn't be sediment in our water system. And
Mm.
like, you need to fix this. And they're like, what's the cheapest way to fix this? Let's street sweep. So anyways, so are those things taken care of? Because ultimately those day-to-day things that impact us that aren't taken care of with the city is is creating extra pressures,
Yeah.
right? I mentioned the fire issue. I have experience in removing flood excuse me, removing parcels from flood maps.
Mm.
Right? Which was also an insurance issue. So
Mm-hmm.
if you owned a home and it was in a flood map, you were paying higher insurance. Naturally, well, not naturally, but
But yeah,
like
that's just
logically.
how insurance works. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I've for the last 5 years have experience in modeling in um, infrastructure repairs, whatever needed, so that we could start removing parcels and homes out of these maps. The
Mm.
process is essentially the same for fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be one of my top issues when, if elected, to focus on. We need to get Ward 2 out of these fire maps. People can't afford their insurance.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like I said, I have voted against rate increases. I've seen how the city, and I have the commitment to continue to stringently look at these budgets so that we get back to the basics. Again, if we have $100 million going to some offshoot program, but our roads aren't paved, let's take another look at this, please.
Yeah.
Right.
Prioritizing, right? Yeah. That makes
I
sense.
truly believe that. I truly believe that if we focus on the basics, we're alleviating a ton of pressure of regular day people. One example, one example that I have on my own family is my son when he's like, how old is he now? 15. So he was like 13.
Hmm.
His one of his first chores was to take out the trash,
Yeah.
roll it onto the sidewalk, right? And we had a huge trash issue. Like our trash was supposed to be picked up Friday mornings. And then Friday came around, nobody picked it up. Saturday came around, nobody picked it up. Sunday we cat came around,
No.
nobody picked it up. And finally my son got like, he's smart. So he got to the point where he was like, I don't know if it's going to be picked up, Mom. I'll take it out tomorrow, maybe. And
Yeah.
like, although it doesn't really talk about affordability, this is a pressure that I'm like, hey, I'm trying to teach this kid to be responsible. Never mind that my trash is piling up,
Yeah.
but and I'm paying for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like what? So how do that was an extra pressure as a parent, as a resident, as a like home or had a head of households. And the city said, you know what, without raising your rates, we're going to use the money we have. I guess they were having like issues with like the trucks. And so they
Mm.
didn't have enough trucks. So they contracted it out, which should be coming back in soon. And they ended up, now it's picked up on schedule. So guess what, buddy? Tuesday nights, you better be out there or else I'm going to have a whole week of extra trash. And
Yeah.
and this is really like, and I'm telling you, when I say I believe it. When the city is not handling their business, it impacts me personally. And so let's just handle business
Yeah.
and let's go back to the basics and handle that
I can't
first.
imagine not having trash picked up for like more than a day. It's just
Right.
sitting on like nah,
Right.
that's some like third world country kind of. Yeah, I'm sorry, I hate to say, but no, it's like
Well, when you say that, that's how like it's funny because my team gets so annoyed because I always bring everything back to water. I'm a water like that is my thing. In the state of California, fourth largest economy in the world, there is 1 million people without access to clean drinking water. A
wow.
million people without access so as somebody I have an environmental science master's degree and I remember thinking like, oh, I want to, just I want to be this environmentalist. And then I started realizing like, well, some of these environmental regulations is the reason why 1 million people don't have. And so these are the experience. And I'll look at you and tell you like, hey, I can't solve everything, but I know locally these are the things I can handle,
Yeah.
right? Because you start pitting sectors against each other, right? We
Yeah.
want to make sure that we take care of our planet, but wait a minute, there are 1 million people without access to clean drinking water. And
Yeah.
so we start fighting these infrastructure projects or these other things without really taking in the consequences of who's being impacted. My water turns on every single day,
Yeah.
right? So I have the luxury to be like, do not cut down that tree, right?
Yeah.
But there's people who are like, cut it down, please. I'm living off of Brita. And so
Yeah.
these,
Gosh,
but
yeah.
so when you talk about these decisions being made on the dais, they're so much more complex than the headlines tell you, right? They voted
Yeah.
against this or they voted to put Measure Z. Wait a minute, let's really talk about what's happening before we start maligning any decisions being made because, and that was the uphill curve that I had to learn in governance is that
Mm,
I have these really concrete beliefs, but my beliefs are outweighed by the reality that is faced in front of me when I'm making a decision.
yeah, yeah, exactly. This is kind of a tangent, but I
It
was
was a
talking
tangent.
with one of my friends, and we were talking about the Amazon, right? And how the deforestation is happening there. And it's like
Right.
really easy for us as Americans to say, well, these people shouldn't be cutting down the Amazon forest because it's so important.
Beautiful. Right.
Well, but why are they cutting it down? Well, they need to do farming or agriculture, whatever they can to make money to survive
Right.
because they're trying to get to the next day, right? Whereas we're, I'm going to be fine for the next month, like I'll be
Right.
good. I don't if something happens to me, I at least have, tonight to sleep on it, worry about it later. Not a lot of
Right.
people do that, especially like people living on the streets.
Right.
But yeah, so I think that's really cool that you are one, a scientist who's familiar with like, water and stuff because that's something I never even think about. I turn on the faucet and I'm like, it's tap water. Where's my Essentia? Where's my, my nice fancy bottled water, but
No, your tap water is cleaner and better
it
regulated than your. I was like,
then
man.
Essentia, my Fiji,
Yeah.
sorry, I love buying those bottled waters because this makes me feel a little bougie every now and then.
Right. Right.
I'm super impressed with you. Like, I wish you luck in your race. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know we probably still have some time, but anything else you want to shout out or, bring to people's awareness? The mic is yours.
Thank you so much. But I just want to say like one, thank you for having me and letting me chat with you. One of the things that I am proud of is that I come from a family of public servants. My dad taught me to be a public servant. I'm choosing to serve in this capacity,
Yeah.
and I love it every single day. The through governance and through being an elected official, I've gotten to do things that I never thought I would be able to do. I've created a scholarship for kids who want to go into STEM. I get to partner with amazing nonprofits and provide turkeys and toys when the holidays are here. And I've gotten to sit down with neighbors that have told me their really tough and vulnerable stories and
Mm,
find a way to solve their issues
mm-hmm.
from everything from, I can't pay my bills. I have literally gone to their homes and been like, and with someone from on staff and saying, hey, what can we do so that we don't turn off their water? And I want to continue to do that at the city. I can't promise absolutely everything, but
Yeah.
the things that I am promising to create jobs, to focus on infrastructure, and to get back to the basics, I'm going to deliver on. I'm very proud to be supported by the mayor and most of the city council, the business community, labor, and
Yeah.
it has been one of my biggest supporter. I'm a union member, but
I
they've
know.
been my biggest supporter. But I know that bringing together this coalition of support, we're going to get things done. And so I hope to earn your vote by June 2nd.
Nice, nice. Thank you, Gracie Torres. That was great. I got to shout out my union, Teamsters
Ah,
1932. I know
that's
they
right.
endorsed you, so yeah,
Awesome.
I hang out with Kathleen a lot. I'm part of the
That's my
LGBT.
girl.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's my
know.
girl.
I did an interview with her offline, and I've been editing it, and I'm pretty sure she shouted you out in there. So be on the
Kathleen,
lookout for that.
Kathleen is a real one. And let me tell you something, if that's
Yeah.
your union, in 1932 chooses winners. So when I got that endorsement, I was like, dang, okay, thank you.
I know. So I was really impressed with your amount of endorsements. So like again, I wish you the best of luck,
Thank you.
and we'll see. We'll see. So all
All
right,
right.
Gracie, thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much
your
for
time.
coming on. I appreciate you.
I just want to take a quick second to thank my team. Oh my
Heck
gosh.
yeah.
I work full time. I work 40 hours a week. I start at 5, end at 5 every day. And if it wasn't for them, like holding it down on a day-to-day basis, we would not have the campaign that we have. So I just want to thank Juan, Kareem, Maha, Tarek, Domas, Frank, Hazal, Tyler, and Raymond. You guys have been a freaking godsend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want
That's
to thank my
awesome.
kids because they are so patient. And I promise, babies, I'm working really hard to come back to you June 3rd. Thank you.
Aw, beautiful, beautiful. All right, we
All
got people in the
right.
chat saying best of luck, Gracie. W
Thank
interview.
you.
All right, so we'll see you
Thank-
later. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope we can have you back on soon.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. All right, chat. That was a great interview. Absolutely great interview. Gracie Torres. No outro music today. No outro music. Okay. Peace out, everyone.